we have seen the importance of agriculture, we have seen the features of Indian agriculture, and now we are going to see the problems of Indian agriculture. In fact, it is like the features are themselves the problems of Indian agriculture. There is overlapping of the same issue. The first is that India does not have proper irrigation facilities. This is the first problem that is faced by Indian agricultural sector. The government has not been able to provide permanent irrigation facilities to all the farmers in India, and thus, as we saw in the features, the Indian farmer is forced to rely on monsoon, on rainfall, and the rain gods do not always please the Indian farmers. Thus, sometimes they are happy and most of the time unhappy because monsoon keeps on playing havoc in their life. The second problem faced by the Indian farmer is deficiency of finance. As the production is low, as most of the time the tenants are working on the fields and they are not using the modern technology and they are not using the modern methods, this leads to low productivity, and thus the profit which comes out of the fields is very low. So the Indian farmer is always short of money, and thus this deficiency of finance makes him a poor farmer. The third problem of the Indian agriculture is that in India, the agriculturists have conventional outlook. That is, they cannot go beyond subsistence farming. They believe they are happy, satisfied if they have sufficient grains for the year. They cannot go forward, they cannot imagine making irrigation as commercial. They do not understand that by growing the commercial crops, they would be able to earn much more than what they are doing. But the Indian farmer remains conventional in his outlook. The next problem of the Indian farmer is it has small and scattered land holdings. As we discussed in the feature, these small land holdings which are scattered, by this the farmer is not able to get the required output, and thus he remains poor every time. The second problem, or rather the next problem of the Indian agriculture is that there is lack of organized marketing system. Meaning to say, the India does not have the required number of mandis in the various cities. The Indian farmer is forced to sell its product there and there at whatever rate it gets, because he has deficiency of finance. He does not have the place to store the grains, and thus he is forced to sell his agricultural product at the available rates because of the lack of organized marketing system by the government. If there is an organized marketing system by the government, the farmer will get the required rate of his product. Next is exploitative agrarian relations. This again comes from the feature of the Indian agriculture, that is the relation of the landlord and the tenant has always been very sorrowful. It has never been a cordial relationship. The landlords want to extract more, the tenants are becoming poorer and poorer every day. They do not seem to show so much of interest in the fields because of the fact they understand that they are not going to get much out of the share. Thus, this exploitative agrarian relationship of the landlord and the tenant have led to the doom of the Indian agriculture. So these are the basic problems which are faced by Indian agriculture.